First, I want to apologize for the sound. I am traveling this holiday season and I left my wonderful mic at home. You're just going to have to bear with me through today. Maybe tomorrow I'll try to get another headset in the morning. Listen to this quote, guys, and hold on to hear who it's from. I've missed 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life. And here's the kicker, and that is why I succeed. Who said that? Michael Jordan, probably the most famous basketball player of all times. What does that tell us? It tells us the winners are the ones who keep getting up. And it tells us that you can do this if you will just stay with it. 10 to 15 minutes a day is all we ask. And let's jump into these markets. What do we see? S&P 500 up, Nasdaq 100 up, 20-year bonds up, gold up. Amazing what we have. Oh, by the way, there's a special training for you in the show notes for everybody who subscribes at chartingwealth.com. The great training is Every Indicator Can Fail and how to use that knowledge. Now, that's a link in the show notes. If you're not a subscriber, go to chartingwealth.com and sign up. Let's follow these charts. Price percent oscillator on the weekly chart continuing to move up strongly. It's looking beautiful. High last week was 321.97. The high so far this week, 322.95. So higher highs. Looks beautiful. Go from the weekly. Oh, the derivative oscillator also has gained a little bit of energy. Go to the 2-day. Now remember, the latest 2-day ended on Tuesday. And of course, what we have happening now, that was Tuesday the 24th. We were closed on Christmas Day. Markets are open on the 26th. So what we see as far as this latest 2-day candle is reaching a higher high. Prices above that 2-day trend line. We could probably redraw that trend line now a little better. Remember, when we're drawing trend lines, got a great training at the website on trend lines, also at the YouTube channel. You want to try to connect 3 candles. We're close to it. Price percent oscillator heading up, derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum. That's looking nice. Go to the 4-hour chart, and we see up in the morning, further up in the afternoon, looking beautiful. Hasn't crossed over yet. But again, remember, that 2-day and the weekly, we had that 2-day crossover, which is what got us into this latest move. When did that 2-day crossover occur? Those who were paying attention, happened on Friday. We had that weekend effect starting on Friday the 13th. That was not a bad day. It's given us a beautiful jumping in point somewhere around 316 to a high so far of 322.95 in just a few days, just a week, less than a week. Is that not absolute? I'm sorry, week and a half. Is that not absolutely beautiful? We've had those closed market days, so just beautiful. We go to the 4-hour chart, and of course, like I said, it's going up. Hasn't crossed over yet, but again, we're paying close attention to those larger charts once we use that 2-day recross to jump into the trade. Let's go back to the weekly. Go to the Qs, up 0.88% for the day, our biggest gainer. We have a higher high this week. We see that the derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum, price percent oscillator heading up. How high will these markets go? I don't know. Frankly, I don't care because I'm going to practice trade it up and down. So again, I am ambivalent. I just want to follow the trend. That's what we do. Price percent oscillators heading up on the 2-day chart. Derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum. Green open box candle after a red open box candle, which meant slowing of the up movement. It's not a red, solid red down candle. Don't know much about Heikin Ashi candlesticks. Please take our training. You can find it on our YouTube channel. Just look up Heikin Ashi, Heiken-Ashi. Means average pace, I'm told, in Japanese. We've got 150,000 or so people that are taking that training. It's for free. Check it out. And while you're watching that, be sure to go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You help us with our metrics there. We so appreciate it. So what do we see going on the 4-hour chart? It is bouncing off the red signal line and heading up in the morning. And in the afternoon, derivative oscillator also gaining upward momentum after it had been losing momentum all the way through the 24th. Now, let's go back to the weekly chart. We're going to go to bonds. Bonds were up 2.24%. Still have a red down candle, but if you look, we're not reaching a lower low in bonds. Derivative oscillator still heading down. Price percent oscillator still heading down. Derivative oscillator losing downward momentum. Go to the 2-day chart. That's where we see things sort of bottoming, sliding sideways, maybe up a little. A green spinning top. Price percent oscillator still barely heading down. Derivative oscillator losing downward momentum. Now again, still confirmed down moves on the 2-day and on the weekly. We go to the 4-hour. What do we see there? Well, we have our third half day of up movement. Things crossed over going up right there as the market closed. And again, that's the way that these charts tend to work is they divide the day up into half days. The market did close at 1 p.m. So on these weird days, it just gets weird. Okay, that's all I can say. It's hard figuring out what's going on those half days. Should work like the half days divided into halves. And again, that that gets confusing. The nice thing is typically volume's very low, not a lot really going on. And again, we're not hunkering down on that 4-hour chart anyway. We're paying attention to it, but we are really paying attention right now to those 2-day and weeklies, seeing what's going on there. And that's where we really want to pay our attention. We do see things sort of ending that sideways slide and tracking up. So pay close attention if you're still in that down trade on TLT once we get through the holiday. And again, just keep watching, just keep paying attention primarily to the 2-day and the weekly if you're in that practice down trade on 20-year bonds, and realize that the 2-day is weakening. When we look at the weekly chart, weekly is weakened a little bit, still heading down, but not reaching a lower low, which is bothering us. So watch the 4-hour, watch the 2-day, watch the weekly. If you've not hit your profit parameters yet, again, make sure you have drawn in there too your loss parameters. We've got that great training that we've offered a couple of times. We'll put it out again here soon on profit and loss bands. Make sure before you enter any trade, you've already established your loss parameters and your potential profit parameters in that practice trade. That's where we are on 20-year bonds. Lastly, we're going to go to gold. What do we see happening with gold? We see on the weekly chart still confirmed down on gold, but we're going into the third week of up movement. Will we make a crossover by Friday, by the close of business on Friday? Doubtful. But we do see the derivative oscillator losing downward momentum, price percent oscillator heading up, big green up candle forming for the week. Look at that 2-day chart. Again, the 2-day chart really, it crossed over going up back on the 5th of December. Then it sort of laminated and really recrossed again on the 11th. And since then, but for a 2-day period of some slowdown, it has just been rocketing up. So again, don't get yourself hurried about jumping into it. We want to make sure, remember the power of the weekly vertical crossover. That's what we're going to be counting on. But we do see that 2-day chart rocketing up, both the derivative oscillator, price percent oscillator, and the candle. Go to the 4-hour chart. What do we see? Again, strong up movement in the morning and about the same in the afternoon. Derivative oscillator gaining upward momentum, price percent oscillator rocketing up. Folks, that's where we are as we end the day. Why don't you end your year with a purchase of our book, Charting Your Way to Wealth? We've got the 13th edition autographed ready to go out to you. You can follow the link in the show notes. Place your order. If you live overseas, email us, cw@chartingwealth.com. Get a copy out for you. Again, I apologize for the quality of today's audio. Pride myself in the quality of the audio that we put out, but when I forget the microphone, I'm having to make do with what I have. So thank you for putting up with me. If you want to really help us out and support us as a Patreon member, we would love that. And again, hope you are having a wonderful holiday season. God bless. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.